Hello, Ender Sword here again, this time with Game 4 of the clan match, clan war between exioN and SCA. We've got exioN's Quonzar, who is our Zerg player up here in the top left-hand corner of the map. He just won against Bowman SX, picking up exion's first win in this clan war. The score now standing at 2-1. His opponent for this match is going to be SCA FRoSTy down here in the bottom right-hand corner, our Terran player. This map is kind of interesting. It almost, just looking at the mini-map, almost has a look or feel to it like it is Ohana. It's that type of layout almost. But very different when you get down to the natural, that there's actually this triple ramp formation coming up into the natural, and this is really your main choke point. It's actually a pretty wide thing, a fair bit away from the ramp, so you're going to be kind of on the same ground level when you go for any sort of wall off here, which makes some interesting situations for say Protoss players or anyone trying to kind of wall off. This location won't come in as much of a factor, not as much of a factor with Terran and Zerg. And the third is a bit here on the low ground with the rocks kind of choking it off a bit. But there's just a lot of ways to get into these bases and a lot of different avenues of attack here. The Terran player going for the refinery at the same time as his first barracks, putting 3 SCVs on that. As the barracks is finishing, we'll have to see if that is intended to go for a early factory or maybe early add-on to these barracks. Oh, the drone picking off one of the SCVs that was building and desperately trying to get that barracks done. Wasn't able to save that, decided it's better to get the building done rather than have any sort of delay here. Obviously wanting to get the orbital command going immediately after that and going right for a second barracks even before going for another depot there. And finally finishing, or at least working on that wall off there to keep out additional drone scouting. The Zerg player going for the spawning pool and hatchery at the same time. Not a whole lot to say about that. Anything is pretty standard there. Only has the one worker and now pulling off those. He did actually have more on that, but was pulling off the drones as he went up to the 100 gas required for the speed upgrade there, which he is getting now. Some Reaper play coming out of our Terran, which of course is the purpose for that early gas, reducing down to just 2 SCVs on this refinery, not needing the full capacity at this point. So he will be coming out with the 2 Reapers, taking a look around, seeing what they can see. A few Zerglings already out there, definitely in the high ground position, able to kind of put the kibosh on that. Will they catch this guy? And they will actually get a full surround as he was trying to meditate. I don't know what that is. Meditate would be like thinking about meditating while you're meditating. Would be meditating. So 3 Reapers coming in now, trying to pick off the Queen. Doesn't really get anything done here, just trying to be annoying up front. See if he can get some Zergling kills. If you can reduce that number enough, then it just forces him to build more. Obviously, you don't want to be going around with like 4 Lings against 3 Reapers. He's going to have to make some more, so everything he can force out of this is just an extra drone that's not going to be existing. And you can see some pretty large numbers of Lings are going to be coming out of Quonzar here as they try and chase these Reapers back across the map. Oh, and they do get a surround on these. He didn't want those picked off for sure. Very rarely do you want your units to actually die or anything like that, but that's just really unfortunate. This command center is pretty wide open. He's definitely going to have to kind of cancel this and do a liftoff, instead bringing it back to the main base. And there's not a whole lot here. There's obviously no bunker up at the front, and a good number of Marines coming out now working on that stem upgrade. He's not going to be able to get anything done into the main, but this definitely will be annoying in terms of delaying this natural from ever going down. Wasn't even able to actually finish that orbital command, so he's not going to be building up energy or anything during this time either, and this isn't enough Marines at this point to be pushing down or trying to clear these away. He's just not going to be able to do a lot with this, instead stuck on the one base. Behind this, our Zerg player is going to take this third and just keep this force kind of in play. Hasn't lost any of these. Our Terran looking to kind of move down here again, see what he can get away with. Obviously wants a bunker to go up front. And is this enough Marines to push it back? Probably by now. Yeah, this can certainly hold it. And does recognize that, hey, that is a pretty big bioforce. I don't really feel like surrounding that with so few lings. So before really losing any, does just go back and figure, no, I got them out, and that's fine. That was a pretty decent delay, particularly with canceling the orbital command. A bit of a supply block there for SCA FRoSTy, and good enough time to get that third down. So Zerg did accomplish what they want to, going for upgrades here now, as well as going up to layer tech and having the Roach Warren down behind this. We can see drone and SCV count are pretty similar, but with this many lings out onto the map, which were obviously forced early by those Reapers, did actually pay off. That was a good investment in what he was doing, and he's going to be able to drone up a fair bit behind this, knowing that he's a bit safe, and even going for the Spire in addition to that, as the third gets established there. Our Terran player also going for some upgrades on his own and doing what a lot of the Terrans seem to be doing, which is just going for the single medevac out of the starport as opposed to going right for a reactor on that point or switching out with anything else that does have the reactor. Just opting for the original single, getting a few tanks out, which obviously have the savings nowadays of not requiring the siege mode upgrade to be going on. The Ling does see this force moving out onto the map, so he's going to be certainly aware that this is a potential thing that could be coming. The Lings being out early definitely have control of these watchtowers, going to be able to see this coming through, and I don't imagine it's going to be posing a lot of danger to the Zerg player, and I'll be even a little surprised if he actually moves this all the way across versus maybe trying to pick off some creep or just kind of sieging up prior to the bases and force a few more units out just to kind of scare our Zerg player. But does actually engage here, catches them on siege, but in a pretty good position behind the tanks here, not a lot of surface area, and takes out a remarkable number of Zerglings there. That actually did a lot better than I would have expected, just due to the position against this ramp, against this wall, and the position of the tanks there did quite well, and he will actually be able to push forward into the third here when I didn't think initially that would be the case. If you get caught a little more out in the open, that could have definitely gone another way, but by hugging the walls there, he is doing a great job and definitely getting a lot of damage done. Even able to see that these Mutalisks are coming out. They're not going to have any luck engaging this type of Terran army full of Marines. A lot of the things here are just kind of going to melt. Unfortunately, some siege fire. Oh, I'm not certain why the pullback on the tanks there. It seems like they got really close and they could have actually engaged with only a few Marines left, but it really did hurt to actually make that pullback there. I don't know whether that was intentional to regather some more forces, but he was right on top of them. I think he could have probably continued. Then medevac just deciding, no, I got to pick these up and go back home. It's great that they did actually survive that encounter. That did a lot more than I really thought it would. In a million years, I didn't think that this was actually going to take out the third base. Just thought that this may force a lot of units out onto the map, of maybe a few roaches, but instead we just got the Mutalisks coming out. Now 9 of them out onto the map with a bunch of Lings but worker count's now looking even. And we don't have that third base down, while we do have an orbital command now moving towards the third for the Terran player. The Zergling is going to be able to see that is there. But, yeah, not a whole lot that the Zerg can do right now to kind of put pressure on or harass this. There's definitely turrets up in key locations, which have been kind of, he was tipped off that these mutas on the way, and he's going to fly right into one of these turrets. Decides to actually stop and pick it off, but there is a second one in place. Nowadays, with the way mutas are, they can certainly regenerate that. Another PP required. There is a bit of lag issue that's been happening apparently during this clan war, so a few pauses going on during the game. This third base getting established with gases up, mules dropping all over the place, and it feels like that one is pretty safe there. We've even got the Terran with a supply lead, and these mutalisks that are out on the field just don't feel like they have a lot of place to go right now. A bit of an opportunity maybe at the third, but he doesn't really know that right now and has to be worried about this push across the map. It would be hard to kind of find the space to swing those around when he needs really everything that he's got in order to stop this push coming across. Getting that pre-split on his Marines, sieging up in that location before moving forward, trying to clear out some of the creep in order to limit vision and not let his opponent know exactly what angle it's going to be coming in at. Marines trying to stem up and keep the Mutalisks away. The Baneling connects are going to be key to this. If you can get a lot of good hits on it, then that's going to help. However, we're not on creep here at the moment, so they're definitely going to be a bit slower, and it's going to be harder to kind of choose the right time. Finally moving in here now, see if he does get some efficient hits. Does manage to take everything out, but a big group of Marines here in the back that can directly engage those Mutalisks as they do come in for that push against what I think he thought were going to be fairly naked tanks behind that. So by holding that group back, is able to pick off a few of the Mutalisks as they come in for the kill there, which makes that a bit more cost effective. The Zerg player does get back ahead in supply count, but just seems to be a tempo behind, and then does relinquish that lead again quite quickly as the Terran force does replenish itself off of a pretty decent economy, even going for his fourth himself. So the Zerg is just not really in the type of comfortable place he would want to be at this point in time, and really spending a lot of resources on those Banelings. Did clean up that attack, but it got pretty close, and that trade did work out reasonably well for our Terran player. Did do a lot of damage and did slow some things down. The real story here so far, aside from that initial push into the third, which took it out, is the fact that it revealed the Mutalisks and really made them not too valuable here at this point. Again, a big investment in these mutas flying around, but there's just having trouble finding a place to be. It's certainly helpful in controlling drops, that our Terran player isn't able to drop into the locations he wants to be in because of the Mutalisks, so you're not going to be probably seeing any drops in the main or anything anytime soon, given how active these are on the map. But they're also not getting any damage done themselves, so they're just kind of preventing. Really good surround there against the wall. That will definitely wipe out this Terran force, but a few more on the high ground here, and the tank sieged up way back in this direction. The Zerglings closing in and just doing a great job of pulling back handfuls of these Marines and trying to make this not as cost efficient, but still that was a great engagement for a Zerg player. I feel like this could have definitely turned it around. The Terran wanted to make a big stand there, thought that he could secure that base, and as he's moving in, there's no turrets at this third, something that probably the Zerg hadn't really realized throughout, or else he could have been in there with the Mutalisks, and FRoSTy realizing tides have turned, has to call a good game, and it really does stem off that one really strong engagement right here. We are fairly even up until that point, but just catching the Marines out in a big strewn out line like that and just flush against the tanks, there wasn't a lot of place to go, and all of a sudden those Mutalisk numbers, which weren't doing a lot, were enough to make it so that you couldn't stand and fight. That there was just a lot of momentum, and the speed of this type of army, just laying Mutalisks with Banelings, reminds you of the old days of Wings of Liberty, where it just comes in, engages the army, and 2 seconds later the fight is over and the Zerg is just streaming across the map. Also, just the location of this engagement. We're on a big map, but it to take place here, right next to the 4th, right next to the 3rd, and so close even to the natural, there's just no time for the Terran player to replenish. Usually if you get wiped out like that, you want, not that you ever want to be wiped out, but you at least want to be wiped out in enemy territory so that you have some time to actually regroup and pull back. Given the proximity that was to his own 4th base, not really expecting that engagement coming down this ledge, that was just brutal and turned the game there on a dime. So excellent. We're now at, I believe, 2-2 in this series and moving on to Game 5 with Quonzar tying it up.